Welcome to the channel. My name is Heath, and today we're going to pick up right where we left off. Last video we talked about Omicron abilities for territory wars. Today we're going to be looking at Omicron abilities for GAC. But let's not waste any time. Let's jump in this video and let's take a look at all the different Omicron abilities I think you should be using for GAC. So here we are on my GAC tab. Even though I don't have very many unlocked on this account, on my other account, I have quite a few that I do use as well. But let's start off with Asajj Ventress. Ventress is one of the Night Sister squad. With the introduction of Marin, it's going to make this group that much better. But let's take a look at Ventress's Omicron ability. We'll check it out, and we'll discuss it as well. So with Ventress's Omicron ability, Night Sisters gain 30% max health, potency, and tenacity, and whenever an ally or enemy is defeated, all Night Sisters gain 10% turn meter. They recover 25% protection, and the Endless Wrath cooldown is reset. Also, when Asajj uses his Endless Wrath, it inflicts healing immunity on enemies for 2 turns. It reduces their defense and max health for the rest of the encounter. This, however, does exclude Galactic Legends. Asajj also has plus 10% critical damage for each enemy with debuffs. The next Omicron ability we're going to look at is for Darth Traya. Her Omicron ability did get nerfed recently. However, it is still relatively effective against a wide variety of groups. I've used it for cleanup against Galactic Legends, considering I only have one Galactic myself on this account here. And she does a wide variety of tasks and is still really strong when paired with other Sith. Her Omicron ability alone makes her really strong. I've matched her up with a wide variety of different Sith, and it is not Sith Empire dependent. It can be used with any Sith whatsoever, and that is what makes her Omicron ability very useful, and what makes her very useful inside of GAC. So the last actual Omicron ability I have activated is on Iodine. And if you notice, my Iodine is only 4 stars. But believe it or not, with that Omicron ability, she is actually really, really strong when I match her up with a group of Imperial troopers. I always run her on defense. I cannot tell you how many times I've ran across her inside of GAC when I'm attacking, and how difficult it is to actually take her down, even at low levels. At higher levels, she's just that much more effective. So matching her up with a group of Imperial troopers that do not have a leader tag will actually be really, really useful. So be sure you're going to pick up Iodine regardless of how many stars you have in her. So our next one that we're going to be looking at is Savage. He is absolutely amazing with his Omicron ability. I ran across him most recently inside of a Darth Traya group. It was Darth Traya, Savage, and Darth Talon in that group as well. So all 3 of those having their Omicron ability activated made that group extremely strong. So with Savage's Omicron ability activated, he gains 50% defense, max health, and offense, and 30 speed at the start of the encounter. Savage also gains 2 stacks of resilient defense, which is just basically a taunt. His max amount he can have is 10. At the end of each turn, Savage gains 2 more stacks of resilient defense and 10% turn meter. Max is 50% for each debuff on other Sith allies. Whenever Savage is critically hit, he gains 16% health steal and offense, and it stacks up to 160%. So including this inside of a squad like Traya is going to make him really, really buff. It's going to make him really, really hard to take down. So if you're going to grab another Omicron ability, if you have Traya's Omicron ability already, be sure to grab him and stick him in a group with her if you do not have Malgus unlocked. And that brings us to our next one, Darth Malgus. Malgus is ran on defense, at least in my experience, 99.9% of the time. He has multiple Omicron abilities, so be sure you're going to be unlocking every single one of him. That makes him the most effective. Again, I've seen him ran with Traya, with Savage, and Darth Talon, and Darth Revan in a group together, and that group is really, really strong and really, really effective. So be sure you're going to grab his Omicron abilities if you have him unlocked. So let's briefly touch on all of Malgus's Omicron abilities while he's in Grand Arenas. If all allies were Sith at the start of the battle, instead, the first time each turn doubt is dispelled on an enemy. All other enemies that didn't already have it are inflicted with doubt for 2 turns at the end of that turn, which cannot be resisted. His second one is under Legacy of Power. Sith Empire allies have plus 50% mastery, plus 30 speed, plus 80% critical avoidance, and damage they receive is decreased by 15% whenever a Sith Empire ally is inflicted with a debuff. They recover 10% health and protection whenever a doubt is on an enemy. That enemy is inflicted with expose for 2 turns, while enemies are inflicted with doubt. That reduces their speed by 20%, tenacity, and minus 30% critical damage that they're able to do at the start of battle. If all allies are Sith, Darth Malgus gains an additional 50% max health, max protection, and 60 speed at the start of battle. And also Darth Malgus recovers 100% health and protection as well. Then his final Omicron ability is debuffs inflicted by this ability cannot be resisted, and Sith Empire allies gain critical chance up for 2 turns. If the target was already shot, they deal true damage to all other enemies, and Darth Malgus gains 50% turn meter. Since we are already discussing Sith, let's take a look at Darth Talon, and let's go over her Omicron ability as well. So while in Grand Arena, if a target enemy is inflicted with isolate or pain, so primarily you would want to use her with someone like Darth Traya, or be sure you have Scion in the group as well because he inflicts pain. But Darth Talon's attacks gain additional effects. Whenever Darth Talon defeats an enemy, all other Sith allies gain 5% max protection, 5% offense for each stack of loyal hand on her. So one thing to take in note when Darth Talon has her Omicron ability is that when Isolate is on a target, Darth Talon's attacks lower the cooldown of Dark Frenzy by 1, and she gains 2 stacks of low hand. Also, when Darth Scion is in the group, Dark Frenzy inflicts buff immunity on all enemies for 2 turns. Darth Talon's attacks recover all allies' health equal to 50% of the damage she deals. This effect is doubled for Darth Scion. They also gain plus 20 speed for the rest of the encounter, and that actually stacks up to 200 and 1 stack of low hand for a max of 20. Your ideal group for her will be Darth Traya lead with Nihilus, Scion as well, then add in Darth Talon, and then add in a tank like Sith Empire Trooper. All right, next Omicron is on QuiGon. QuiGon's Omicron ability is not quite as good as it used to be because of a nerf that it received. However, it is still very effective. So running a QuiGon lead with someone like Anakin that does a huge AoE damage whenever QuiGon dies. So we also want to add Luminari into the group with QuiGon as well. They recently added an Omicron ability for Luminari. So let's take a look at it and break it down. So whenever Luminari's Omicron ability is activated, it dispels all debuffs on allies. All allies gain tenacity up for 2 turns, and Luminari gains 50 speed for 2 turns. Stacks of heal over time gained from this ability trigger. Whenever any heal over time from this ability triggers, it can only happen once per turn. And whenever they trigger, they also recover 20% protection. While allies have a stack of heal over time from this ability, they also have 100% critical avoidance and are immune to turn meter reduction as well. Whenever a stack of heal over time from this ability is dispelled, it actually reduces the cooldown of the ability by 1, and other allies with protection up can't gain these bonuses, and these stacks of heal over time expire on other allies who gain protection up. Admiral Radish is another one that I currently do not have geared up as well. However, if you have Admiral Radish geared up, 7-star, and have him relicked out, and have a good squadron of Rogue One as well, be sure to grab his Omicron ability because it is very useful and is really strong on defense. His Omicron ability does require him to be in the leader slot inside of any Rogue One group, but Rogue One allies gain 40% max protection at the start of battle. All Rogue One allies gain Spark of Rebellion for 3 turns, and whenever Spark of Rebellion is dispelled on an ally, they gain critical chance up, critical damage up, defense up, health up, offense up, potency up, and protection up 20% for 2 turns. Chrysanthemum is next on our list. Having just unlocked Jabba the Hutt on my larger account, Chrysanthemum is another one that I will be picking up his Omicron ability for Grand Arenas. You want to keep Chrysanthemum alive as long as possible. That way you can protect Jabba, but at the start of the battle, Chrysanthemum gains plus 40% max protection. While he is active, all enemies have their potency reduced by 30%. If all allies were cartel at the start of the battle, Chrysanthemum is immune to ability block and cooldown increases. And the first time the ally in the leader slot, excluding himself, falls below 50% health, Chrysanthemum taunts for 2 turns, and the ally in the leader slot recovers 50% protection. Dash Rendar is our next one that you should be picking up if you have him geared up. I actually ran across a Dash Rendar group with him only being Relic 5 and the rest of the group only being around gear 12, gear 11. And I had a really tough time left. They stuck him on the back wall, and I had a very limited squads left to use against him. And it was a tough fight just simply because of his Omicron ability. So even though this doesn't look like a whole lot, allies lose prepare, they gain it right back. I ran across an absolute turn meter train whenever I was up against this Dash Rendar inside of GAC. And I ended up not being able to take him down because I was limited on the squads that I had available to me. So the next Omicron ability we're looking at is the First Order TIE Pilot. This one has a condition that it must be in all First Order in the group, and if there are no Galactic Legends as well. It gains 30% chance to gain foresight at the start of the battle. All allies gain 50% max health, and whenever an ally has advantage, they have plus 50% crit damage and 100 speed at the start of the round. If an ally doesn't have advantage, they gain 100% tenacity until they gain advantage. And whenever an ally loses advantage, they also recover 20% health and protection. And then whenever the First Order TIE Pilot gains bonus turn meter, they gain advantage for one turn if they didn't already have it. And whenever First Order TIE Pilot gains foresight, all allies gain foresight for 2 turns. So that makes him very difficult to hit. It makes it very difficult to drop debuffs on this group as well. Also, it makes the entire group very, very fast. So even if you're not modded really well, this adds 100% speed to the group, and it makes it almost impossible at times to be able to get the group down if you don't have the right counter for it. So the next one we're going to be looking at for GAC is Starkiller. A majority of the times I end up having to use my Sith Eternal Emperor to take down most Starkiller groups. Starkiller's Omicron abilities are absolutely amazing, so be sure you're going to be picking him up if you have him unlocked. I currently will be working towards him on my larger account because I recently upgraded my Mara Jade to Relic 4, and I got to finish out the rest of the team over there to work on his journey guide. But Starkiller in a group is really nice. Running him on defense can really slow down your opponents inside of GAC. But let's take a look at his Omicron abilities and break them down. So Starkiller actually has 3 Omicron abilities that are available to him. So be sure you're picking up all 3 to be able to get the best usage out of him. So the first one we're going to be looking at is if all conditions for this ability were met at the start of battle, all of the following bonuses are also gained at the start of battle. Jedi tank allies taunt for 1 turn. All allies have 35 speed. Debuffed enemies deal 50% less damage. Also, whenever a Sith ally uses a basic ability, Starkiller assists, dealing 20% less damage. Whenever another dark side unaligned force user uses a special ability, all allies gain critical hit for immunity for 1 turn. When Starkiller uses a special ability, light side healer allies have their cooldowns reduced by 4. Jedi tank allies gain damage, immunity, and taunt for 1 turn in 3v3 grand arenas. Any combination where the team includes no more than 1 Jedi, 1 light side unaligned force user, 1 Sith, and or 1 other dark side unaligned force user will fulfill conditions for this ability to work. So our next one is under balanced force throw. While unleashed, dispel all debuffs on all allies, and the buff immunity and healing immunity can't be copied, dispelled, or resisted. So it will make it very difficult for you to keep debuffs up on a Starkiller group. Then we have our last one here under Force Repulse. It dispels all buffs on all enemies. So if you're using a squad that is heavily dependent upon buffs to make it really strong, this ability from Starkiller will make it extremely difficult for them to keep buffs up. Then we have our next Omicron ability here. That is for Zam Wessel. It is under Shapeshifter. Zam instead gains 60% increase to her offense, max health, and max protection. Zam gains also 5% speed for each bounty hunter ally. Other bounty hunter allies gain 20% of Zam's current offense, max health, max protection, and speed until the first time she is defeated. So having Zam's Omicron ability is going to make your bounty hunter team that much stronger, so be sure you're picking this one up for her. And finally, we have Wampa right here. Wampa is probably the most recognizable one to have an Omicron ability. He's used in a wide variety of places. He can be used to take down a wide variety of teams if you have him relicked up and if you have him modded up really well. So Wampa's Omicron ability is this. He gains 100% tenacity if there are no other active allies at the start of the battle. Wampa gains plus 75% defense, max health, max protection, and offense doubled if there is only one active enemy at the start of the battle. Whenever Wampa is damaged by an attack, he inflicts 2 stacks of damage over time for 3 turns on the attacking enemy, which cannot be evaded or resisted. The cooldown of Furious Foe is reduced by 1 and gain an additional 30% tenacity that stacks until the end of the encounter. So if you have Wampa unlocked, he would probably be my first choice as an Omicron ability. So depending on what squads you have unlocked, that will determine what Omicron ability you're going to be picking up. Myself personally, as you can see here, I have the Darth Traya Omicron, I have the Asajj Ventress Omicron, and I have the Iodine Omicron as well. I will be working towards ones like for Darth Talon, and eventually at some point for Starkiller once I get the requirements met to unlock him as well. So there we go. These are my choices for Omicron abilities for Grand Arena. If you have any others you think should be on the list or some other ones that you're currently using right now that you think are really strong, let me know down in the comment section below. But until next time, hope you enjoyed this video and we'll see you soon. Much love, peace out, and we'll see you in the next one.